if an advocate cannot get it right in authorizing the prosecution of someone for a criminal offense that carries life sentence. I mean, you're talking about the liberty of people here, or R1 million fine. If a prosecutor cannot get that right, in my opinion, she's unfit to be in that position. I mean, her unlawful conduct caused me to have lost my liberty on more than one occasion. And I personally don't think she's fit to hold that position. I didn't really study the judgment. I've just perused it, so I would like still to go and study it in detail. I'm not too sure, and I respect the ruling of the judge, absolutely. But the bits and pieces that I've read, and I want to qualify, I did not study the actual judgment. It would appear that she was relying on the fact that there were other statements. Now, Gorvin's ruling wasn't whether there were other statements or not. His judgment related to her lying under oath, because she said that she considered evidence under oath. Those were her words. And then she refers to specific statements, one of them being a Greek national, Aridanikas. I mean, that statement wasn't even signed or dated. So for all intents and purposes, it's not even a statement. In any event, if what's written in the statement, if it was true, doesn't amount to racketeering. The second statement that she also relied upon is one of a Colonel Rajan Iyer. Now, she said, when she signed the certificate, and she refers, and she marked that statement specifically, and she refers to that annexure in her affidavit. Now, that statement was taken 2 weeks after she took the statement. So by stating under oath, and as an officer of the court, and as a leading prosecutor in the country, she should know when she signs an affidavit. She should know, she should make sure of her facts. To state under oath that she considered evidence that was not evidence is a lie, and it's a lie under oath. And it's for that reason why 2 advocates at the Prosecuting Authority decided to prosecute her for fraud and defeating the ends of justice. Unfortunately, the current NDPP decided to withdraw those charges. I agree with you wholeheartedly, and I can refer specifically to 2 or at least 3 sagas that I believe are interwoven, and that's the so-called rendition matter against Dramat and Sibia. Now, I told General Dramat more than 3 years ago when the so-called expose appeared in the Sunday Times. I personally told Dramat at the time, the person behind the story is Richard Ndluli. And I don't think he believed me at the time. It's now become clear after reading the statement of Innocent Kuba from the iPad that Ndluli and Ntlemetsa, the current head of the Hawks, orchestrated the demise of Dramat. Then the so-called SARS rogue team, I know that when we started the investigation against Tashin Pandey, members of the so-called rogue SARS team also investigated Pandey. So I don't think you need to be a rocket scientist to figure that one out. If you look at the casualty list in this whole saga, I mean, you sit with the head of the National Prosecuting Authority, Nkasana, that was basically orchestrated out of the organization. You're sitting with the previous acting head of the National Prosecuting Authority in KwaZulu-Natal, Advocate Simpuwe Mlocha, who was orchestrated out of his position because of these sagas. You're sitting with 2 advocates, well, 2 other advocates. It's Beki Mnyati, who subsequently resigned because of this, because he was the first prosecutor in the attempt to bribe me, and so has Simpuwe Mlocha. He's also resigned. And they've told me personally it's because of this. So if you look at the casualty list within the NPA, and those are very qualified prosecutors that have been ostracized because of their the fact that they wanted to prosecute without fear of favour. If you look at the casualty list within the Hawks, it's a whole list. And that's perhaps also one of the reasons why I wrote this book, to expose this whole cabal that's compromising the criminal justice system. As I said in the book, you know, there's no simple answer. You have a couple of protagonists, each with an agenda and counter-agenda, different dynamics, a couple of useful idiots, a couple of circling sharks. You have a recipe for a perfect storm, and that's where I found myself about 5 years ago. And that perfect storm has left a lot of casualties in its wake. I have absolute faith in our courts. I have no faith in the prosecuting authority under the current leadership. And I would like to qualify that. There are a number of prosecutors that do good work. So I don't want to paint them all with the same brush. But the current leadership of the National Prosecuting Authority, I've got no faith in. Referring to the law enforcement agencies, the current acting National Commissioner, Patlani, I've got faith in him, and I would rather not comment as to whether I have faith in the Hawks or not.